So this isn't really too surprising at the end of the day. When a couple years ago, when we signed Germaine Pratt to a new extension, the idea was he was staying with us and wanted to stay with us because of the fact that he wanted to stay with Lou. And that was kind of the understanding that, yes, he wanted to be a Bengal, but he wanted to play under Lou Anarumo. Well, now that Lou's gone, it's not too surprising that he might find himself wanting to leave as well. Now, Germaine Pratt leaving definitely sucks in some department. The main issue with him leaving or wanting to leave is the fact we don't have linebacker depth on this team. It's definitely a humongous, problem for us right now. Is outside of Germaine Pratt, we have Logan Wilson. We potentially might lose Joseph Asai. We have Joe Bacci, who's also we might lose. And there really isn't too many other players. Like, our linebacking depth, yes, we have Moma Jagmita, but keep in mind, he's also a free agent. He was undrafted, so he's not on the team guaranteed. So there really isn't this cluster of players on this team right now that could take over for that linebacker spot. Now, last year, Germaine Pratt did really great when it came to, he was the 10th best tackling linebacker in the NFL, but he cannot cover. He's not fast enough. He gets blown past. He gets absolutely demolished whenever he tries to cover people. And he just, yes, he sometimes gets interceptions. And I still think he's a really good linebacker, but he's not a guy that I'm like, oh, if we lose this guy, this is a detriment, right? Trey Hendrickson, he requested trade. I was upset because, wow, we can't lose Trey. We can lose Germaine Pratt and be okay. Again, but it's a situation where you don't want to lose him, right? You never want to lose someone like Germaine Pratt because not only does he bring, his actual play to this table, he's also a good leader and a good veteran. So it's one of those situations where it is what it is at the end of the day. My guess is he would probably want to be traded to the Colts to play under Lou Anarumo again, which, we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. But there's a lot of good linebackers, a lot of good veteran linebackers in free agency. So this isn't like a, wow, we potentially could lose someone who's like the best of the best, right? So we could replace him. We're not going to get the same caliber, don't get me wrong, but we could replace maybe like 1/5 of him. And through this upcoming NFL draft, which is really freaking good at the linebacker and edge rusher position, we could find maybe not a replacement, but we could find the future replacement for him. So I'm not sweating bullets over potentially losing Germaine Pratt. My guess is we're probably going to trade him for draft picks because that's just how Duke Tobin works. He loves his draft picks. What I would like to do is trade him for another player, preferably another linebacker potentially, and do like maybe a swap of draft picks and a swap of Germaine Pratt for another linebacker, maybe veteran guy, and kind of get that replacement right away. I'm not sure how he would work in Al Golden's defense. Keep in mind, Al Golden has a completely different defense than Lou Anarumo. So that also might be another factor that kind of goes into all this, is that maybe, there might have been some talks, and again, I'm just speculating here, that maybe Lou or maybe Germaine said, hey, I don't know if I'm going to be as good in Al Golden's defense as I was in Lou Anarumo's. So that's definitely a factor. There's a lot of different factors, right? But at the end of the day, we'll see what ends up happening. This could be a nothing burger. Keep in mind, T.E. Higgins requested a trade. Nothing came out of it. Trey Hendrickson requested a trade back in the day. Nothing came out of it. And now this one. The Bengals are not a team that, and also Jonah Williams requested a trade and nothing happened either. The Bengals are not a team, the front office at least, they don't give into demands. That's just not how they operate. When you try to demand something from the Bengals in the front office, they are going to laugh at you, point at you, and say, good luck, buddy. You're going to be on this team until your contract comes out, and we're going to make your life a living hell. Maybe not the second part, but they will keep you on that team for the rest of your contract, and they do not care. So this is one of those situations where they say, I think it's a movie quote, like, we don't negotiate with terrorists. That's kind of how the Bengals front office works. You try to take the upper hand on them. You try to go to the media. You try to talk all this stuff about them. they're just going to sit there and pretty much say, we don't care, and you're just going to play out your contract. So it's not always the case when they request a trade, but they don't like it when players go to the media and request a trade. They don't. They'd rather keep it in-house, very secretive, and kind of get this conversation figured out behind closed doors rather than going out there, because it does make the front office look bad. It also makes, the Bengals look bad. And that's the last thing they want to do in these situations. So, yeah, it's not a situation that is positive right now. I'm sure that there is some frustrations with that. But as it says right here, Pratt is still only 28 years old, a leader in the locker room, wears the green dot, and has an extensive playoff experience. Yeah. Bengals will have a market should they decide to trade him in order to free up some cash to continue re-signing the offensive weapons. And again, like I said, the situation, I think there will be a market for him, definitely. But I think he wants to go to the Colts, and I think that's going to be the team he really pushes for and tries to get the whole situation done with. I believe he still wants to play on the Lou Anarumo, so we'll have to wait and see. But again, like I said, I would not mind the idea of, if you want to trade a 1-for-1 trade, Germaine Pratt over to the Colts, and we get a linebacker in return. I would like to do like a draft pick swap, but I think that could be a really good situation, and we could get it figured out. But this is not a player requesting trade that I'm losing sleep over. Personally, I do love him, but it is what it is. He wants to leave. But yeah, and I just looked up. I mean, Germaine Pratt. Yeah, there isn't even really anyone on the Colts defense. I'm like right away, like, yeah, let's go get him. Because Shaq Leonard left them. Shaq Leonard's not on the team anymore. So I can't think of anyone on their team that I actually would really want too much as a 1-for-1 trade, at least. Yeah, I guess we'll figure it out. Tell me down below your thoughts, opinions. I'll see you guys next one.